Hi guys, this is Mix, and I'm here to do a review and disassembly guide for one of the newest box mods that just came out here in the Philippines. It's called the Nookie. I'm the type of person who likes them really simple. What's important for me is what's underneath the hood or how it performs. If you have watched my other video, a preview and disassembly guide of another box mod, you'd probably notice that this looks similar to that, or similar to this, the fire pipe. But don't be alarmed, this is in no way a copycat or clone of the fire pipes, but this is instead an improved version of it. It's because the guys who created this, Vape Breed, guys who created the Nookie, they're also the minds behind the fire pipes. This is a really good box mod for me already. I loved it. Some people had issues with it. I did too at first, but I completely fell in love with this box mod and have been using it ever since this bad boy came. Enough of that. Again, the Nookie. This is a very much improved version of the fire pipes in every way I could possibly imagine. It really packs a lot of power. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna go wrong with this one. So let's give it a try. For this video, I'll be using my trusted Doge atomizer. I have a fairly low build on this one just to test out the power. So the build I have on this is clocking in at 0.04 ohms. So again, it's not advisable that you use a build that low on this mod or any other mod, but this is basically my preference. First and foremost, you have to do it at your own risk. Know your limits. Know your battery's limits, know your mod's limits, know all of your device limits, safety precautions, what to do when something goes wrong, and how to avoid it, of course. So again, you'd really have to be responsible for your own actions. There's no one else to blame aside from you if something goes wrong. So study first, know your resistances, know how to build properly, how to build perfectly if you can, and if you think you're confident enough, then go ahead. So here it is. It's a dual parallel nichrome build. Put on some e-liquid, pastry vapors, Max VG, newest flavor of pastry vapors. It's mango graham, which I really, really love as well. Put some e-liquid there. Okay. So outright, I'm not even vaping it yet, but look at that. And I'm not even using fully charged batteries. I've been using this for the past, I guess, 2 hours already. And still a lot of power. Okay, just put on a bit more and have a short vape so you guys can see. Here we go. Short drags, but so much vapor. I know it's the juice, it may be the juice, it may be the build, but again, there are also a lot of mods that don't quite give you enough power, especially for low builds like this. But this, on the other hand, performs really, really well. Okay, now the mod also tends to get a bit warm. Um, its body is made out of black delrin acetal, but still, mod still gets a bit warm, which for me is perfectly normal. Again, I'm running a really low build. Internals are all metal, so they tend to heat up, but it doesn't really get that hot. What's important for me is how they perform. So, with that said, even if it didn't have this emblem, I still like it. Now it's time to get up close and personal with the Nookie. As you can see, I put it beside my fire pipes just to give you an idea on its size. As of the height, fairly the same height. Okay. Thickness, I'd probably say the there. Not sure if you can see it, but yeah, the Nookie is just a bit thicker, and believe it's also a bit wider. There we go. Okay, so just a bit, but no, not really a big deal. I mean, just a tad size difference, doesn't really matter. As you can see, again, it's made out of a black delrin acetal. Very, very nicely machined. See that? So this is the firing switch, made out of brass, and has a copper housing. That's what it looks underneath. Okay, compared to the fire pipes. How you open it, you just slide it. It's that simple. Slide it out and take out the batteries. So, bottom inserted batteries, you have 2 slots. Again, very well machined. Batteries fit fine. Don't get stuck inside. And this is the bottom section. Later on, I'm going to show you how to disassemble this. You have the Nookie on the emblem that is very well made as well. And it's fitted flush. Then we go on to 510, custom 510. You have Babe Breed engraved, nicely engraved. Yeah, I'm not really sure there. I think, yeah, serial number 209 engraved onto the 510, and you have a telescopic copper positive pin. Vent holes here. 2 of the vent holes are for the battery compartment. Okay, and the two other holes are for the switch housing. I'll go into a bit more detail on that later on when once we take it apart. Everything is very well machined. All the parts. Okay, let's look at it. Of course, you also have a 2 copper positive screws way inside, so later on I'm going to show you how to remove that as well. Okay. And the switch, man, I can't even start on saying how good this switch is. It has short throw, it's flush, so even if you have batteries or your atomizer in there, put it like that, it won't auto fire. Put it in your pocket, won't fire. Just to show you guys how responsive the switch is. If you press it like that, of course it will fire. Press it like this, it'll fire. But again, it's very well designed. You could put on your thumb flush like that. It's fairly effortless. See? You could actually see my thumb hardly moving, but it fires. And for me, this is a real plus or a real pro because you could really grip the mod firmly in your hand. It's fairly ergonomic. And with your thumb positioned this way, you could just vape for hours and you won't, really get tired of holding it. See? No stress on the thumb because it's straightened out. If, however, you want to fire it like a trigger type, I'll fire it this way. See? See how my index finger is positioned? So, good grip, very ergonomic, but look how I fire it. See? So that's basically what I love about the Switch. You can just, sit your index finger flush like that, at the same time gripping the mod firmly and comfortably, of course, and fire it without any problems. For me, one of the most important aspects of a well-designed mod is how good and how comfortable the Switch is. So it's very plain, nothing engraved on it, but still, I mean, I like how it performs. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to disassemble the mod. Um, Before we proceed, I'd just like to say that we could remove every single metal part on this box. In disassembling the Nookie, you have to start with the bottom part. You have to remove the batteries first. Before we do that, I'd just like to point out a con. You see how there's a gap at the bottom? Okay, so that kind of caught my eye. When I screwed in the negative contacts, I get a gap. Okay, so um it's something that bothered me at first, and then it came to me that there's actually I'm not sure if it's part of the design of the Nookie that when you tighten down the negative screws that you really get this gap, and I'm not sure if the makers intended that, but trying to think of what I can do to fix it. It somehow can kind of hit me that there's an actually good use for this, and that being it's an added vent hole. See, you know how you have a vent hole, two vent holes for one of the tubes, but you don't really have one for the other side. Okay, now that since I have this gap, if ever one of your batteries, especially on this side, vents, there's still gonna be some space for heat to dissipate or to come out. It's gonna come out of this bottom part. Okay. So again, I'm not sure if they intended this, but if they did, good idea. If they didn't, I still find it's no longer a con for me. Again, added ventilation or venting is always good. So this is gonna be a pro now for me. I don't really mind the gap anymore. What's more important for me is the performance and of course the features. So this is for me. This is gonna be an added feature. On with the disassembly. You don't really have to remove the negative screws. You just have to loosen them. Okay. Slide it out. Take out the batteries. Use this screwdriver. It has a bigger head, and this is gonna be copper or brass screws. So again, much more durable than copper. Also, if you can see, there are like small grooves here. And it's basically like a guide for the screwdriver, so you don't wreck the sides of this part or the bottom plate housing. Okay, remove the screws. Next step, take this out. So all you have to do is slide it out. See, very easy. So this is the housing for the bottom plate. Just this. And now you have to remove these two parts. Actually, these two are rods, and they actually connect to the 510. And I'll show you in a bit more once I get them out. Okay, look at the size of those rods. Okay, now that I've removed the rods, the 510 will just easily come out. There we go. Custom 510. Again, all the parts of the Nookie are custom made. Okay, all that's left is the switch and its housing. In order to remove that, you have to first unscrew. I'm not sure if you can see it. There we go. The two positive screws, which are screwed onto the switch housing. That's why you need a longer screwdriver, by the way. There we go. Made out of copper. And now you have the switch housing, which you can easily remove by. This is the firing pin. All you have to do is push it out. Switch housing comes out. This is the switch. Okay, you could remove the switch as well, and I'll be doing that because there's another pro on this switch which I want to emphasize on. Okay, so again we're gonna disassemble the switch. To do that, screwdriver and turn it counterclockwise. Okay, firing pin is gonna come out, again made of copper, solid copper and custom made. The switch, however, is made from brass, custom made as well, but look how solid that switch is. Very solid, nicely machined. You have a spring, which in my opinion is very sturdy, just the right tension. Okay, definitely a pro. Inside the switch housing, you can see there is a black delrin material. Another pro for me, because what it does is it helps dissipate the heat coming from the contacts, especially when you're using low builds. So helps dissipate the heat. See how there's two holes? So those two holes go straight here to the other end. The way I see it is, if ever there is any heat buildup inside this chamber, it can easily go out these holes. And if it goes out those holes, what's going to happen is the heat is going to be somewhere about this area. Okay? Especially you get heat coming from the 510. You have two vent holes here. Okay? So again, these two vent holes are for this particular section. So any heat buildup here will go out here. One reason why the switch doesn't really heat up is because it has proper ventilations. Not only in the batteries, but on the switch housing as well, and 510 housing. So definitely a pro. Okay. Here's another one. If you could see how this firing pin is somehow oddly shaped, the reason for that is it's because so that it can have better contact with the 510 pin, which is easily removed. The cylindrical shape, and for you to get a better contact, that's why they made the firing pin like this, and so that when it contacts with the 510 pin, you see how you get more surface area on the contact. If you use just a standard firing pin which is flat, you see how you get less surface area, and in cases like that, this is also prone to arcing. So arcing is when when you have sparks, which somehow leads to shorts and whatnot. Okay, that's because you have them big pins, you have tons of current flowing through them, but you don't really have enough surface contact, to transfer the electricity to. So very wise choice in making it this and designing it this way. Again, as you can see, you now have better contact. It's like it embraces the 510 pin. Okay, so definitely a pro. That's basically all the parts of the Nookie. Again, combination of brass and copper, but mostly copper. Start with the firing mechanism. Okay, put in the spring, put in the brass firing button. Another thing, if you don't tighten it down all the way, you could actually have your switch a bit high rise or protruding like that. Some of you may prefer it. So if that's how you want your switch, then I suggest you don't really have to tighten the firing pin all the way down. So you could adjust the height to how you like it. My only gripe about the switch being this way is, since you don't tighten down the firing pin all the way, it may tend to come loose, and in some cases it may be the cause of misfires. It's because the threading is not really that snug. See how it wiggles? See how it wiggles? So when you're firing it, the way the electricity or current goes through it, it's not really that solid. So in some cases, it may cause misfires. So again, I guess you could just try it out. I actually haven't tried it out, but the reason for that is because I prefer it to be really flush. Just make sure it's tight. I mean, that's how I like it. So you guys could try the high-rise type if you want. So now that we have the switch assembled, you now put the switch housing and positive plate back inside. Make sure to just align it well. And of course, since there is a certain shape to the firing pin, make sure that the slit, the screwdriver slit on the firing pin is centered. Okay. Because you'd want that perfect contact. To secure the switch housing, you could first install back the positive pin. What I do is I just drop them inside. Give it a wiggle until you get the threading into those holes. Then you could finish up with your screwdriver. So I have them both inside, both tightened down. Here's one thing though. You're only gonna want to tighten down the positive pin on this side, the side where you have the firing button. You're only gonna want to tighten this down all the way and not this other one. Why? It's because I show you. Let me show you. Right now I have both of the positive pins tightened down, right? Okay. I'll show you why you'd want this other one a little bit loose. Because when you insert the batteries, I'm not sure if you could notice, but see how one of the batteries is slightly protruding compared to the other. It's not really an issue with the mod. It's just how the switch housing was. I'm gonna loosen the positive screw on this side just a bit. Put in the batteries. Okay, now they're even. If you're the type of person who isn't really bothered by your batteries being uneven, then you don't really have to do what I do. Custom 510. So the way you have to put this in is have the firing switch facing you. See how there's a groove here? So you have to face the groove where the firing button is, and make sure it's centered. Okay. So you can't really see it once it's inside. So what I do is put it that way, and I just make sure that the serial number and the vape read is centered. Okay, because if this is centered, then you definitely have the slit centered going. Hold the 510 down using your index finger or whatever finger you'd prefer to use, so that it doesn't fall out. These screw in to the 510. So put in one first, screw it in. The moment that you feel resistance, you could just stop. That will prolong the life of your screws as well. Okay. Now next, you have to put in the housing for the bottom plate. Okay. So if you can notice, one side is thinner, other side is thicker. You'd want the thick side going here. Okay. So since this is the thinner side, insert this first. Okay, slide it in and push it down. Make sure it's flush. Get the screws, lock down the housing in place. So everything is back in place. All that's left is batteries, Always put them positive in first, both of them. Again, this is a parallel connection box mod. And then slide in the plate. See how easy that is. And tighten down the negative contacts for a snug fit. Once you no longer get or hear any rattling, that's good. Everything is nice and snug. Okay. So basically that's it. There you have it, guys. It's the Nookie box mod by Vape Breed. Well made, well designed, well machined. It's definitely worth the buy for me. Price point, I'd say it's at the price range we're in. I'd say it's the norm if you're looking for, you know, a full mechanical box mod that performs really well. So it's not really that, the price is not really that steep for me. It's the amount that I'm willing to shell out with no worries at all. So if you're concerned about the price, I mean, again, it's not that steep. It's definitely worth the buy. Shout out, of course, to Vape Breed. I mean, you guys did a very wonderful job on this box mod. This box is definitely for keeps, and I'm definitely going to enjoy using this on a daily basis. I've been using it for the past 1.5 weeks. I've tried other box mods as well, but for me, I haven't really come across another one that could actually, you know, replace this one. At this point, I don't really see how anyone's gonna have issues with this box mod because of the way it's designed. Every single cent that is spent on this is money well spent. Bye, guys.